Gators Breakdown, because there's never a dull moment in Gator Nation.
The Gators Breakdown podcast is ready to go. I'm your host, David Waters. You can find me on social media at GatorDave_SEC, coming at you. On the heels of another defeat for the Florida Gators, 3 in a row right now. And it's a 26-7 final against the rival Miami Hurricanes. Score is a little closer than the final score, but that doesn't really matter. It's another game you lost. It's Groundhog Day. It's deja vu. However you want to call it. I mean, whatever you want to call it. Another putrid performance for the Gator offense, defense, doing about as good and as well as they can, only to not have any help once again. So Gators go down, lose another rivalry game, by the way. So that's another feather in Billy Napier's cap. But yeah, we know where this is heading. I mean, this isn't good. This isn't working out. It's not going to work out. 1-3 to start this season that had high hopes, that had high expectations, and you go into the first bye week 1-3. So certainly not where many of us thought this was going. I mean, even if you weren't the biggest fan of this team, where maybe the whole program was heading, I think it's even worse than what you thought it would be. And that's why, it's not much longer. I don't know when. Not put a timeline on it. I know I saw the comments in here. There's no way he can survive this. And KJ says there's no way Billy is still the coach after this. I don't think they make the move tomorrow. No, I don't. I think administration will look at this and they'll find some way to spin that one good drive in the second half, or they'll spin hey, defense is playing well. And I think it'll be done eventually, but I don't think it'll be done September 21st. That's Sunday. Should it be? Absolutely. We know what this is. We know what it looks like. It's done. I mean, here we are, 4 games into the season. Yes, it's done. Look, I told you I had lost all hope after USF. Like you would have had to point to me where the hope is. And some of that hope was DJ Lagway, and it's not there either. So, we'll get into that. We'll get into him too. Just not living up to the expectation. We know some of the reasons. It can't be all the reasons. But I put it there on Twitter and talking about this game and the Discord too. I mean, it's a revolving door of calamity on the offense. One play, it's a terrible play call. One play, it's Lagway not making the right read. It's trying to escape the pocket well before he should. Not knowing where to go with the ball. The next play, it's the offensive line just not giving any time. I mean, it's just a calamity of errors. And it's just what this offense is right now. Year 4, and this is what you put out there. This is what you put out there. And look, you're 1-3. There's no reasoning for it that's going to make this legit. This is a bad offensive squad right now. Offensive line's not good, not living up to where we thought they'd be. Yeah, they were going up against a good Miami defensive front, where this Florida offensive line was thought to be just as equal to that. And no. Can't stand up to what on the other side of the ball was kind of maybe supposed to be your equal. Yeah, but no, you got completely owned once again. So yeah, this is just we know where this is. We know what this is. We know what this looks like. We've seen it. Unfortunately, we've seen it way too many times to know what it looks like when it's not going in the right direction and when it's time to make a move. And we've reached that point. So, of course, I know everybody, you don't like what happened during Coral Game. You don't like seeing the Gators lose, but like the work we're doing right here on Gators Breakdown. Hit that like button, that thumbs up right there on YouTube. If you're watching live or the replay, leave some comments. I see them. There's a ton of them. I'll get to as many as I can as we go through this a little bit. And subscribe right here on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform as well. But, yeah, this is ugly. This is ugly. Let's go. A couple notes here. 1986. Many of you probably not even born yet. Last time the Gators started 1-3. That's the last time. Last time. 1986. Last time a 1-3 start for the Gators. 3-12 in rivalry games, with the only wins coming over Tennessee in 2022 and over LSU and FSU last season. 3-12. Or, yeah, my bad. Tennessee in 2023, not 2022. That was Napier's first year. So Tennessee in 2023, LSU and FSU last season. 3-12 against Georgia, LSU, Tennessee, Florida State, Miami. That's not cutting it. Billy Napier's hired to become head coach at Florida. You expect this result in year 4. You expect that result against the teams that you want to beat the most. 3-12. 2 weeks in a row that Florida plays two coaches. Billy Napier's matched up against two coaches hired the same season. Same season he is, and you score one touchdown on each of them. One touchdown last week against LSU, and Brian Kelly, hey, guess what? He started the same time you did. Mario Cristobal, same thing. You scored one touchdown on LSU last week and one touchdown on Miami this week. That's year 4 of Billy Napier. 366 yards last week, 141 this week. LSU's defense is really good. Miami's defense is really good. Now, Lagway wasn't tossing 5 interceptions again, but that probably lends itself to 61 total passing yards. Hanging on to the ball, taking sacks, afraid to do anything down the field. If even he had time to go down the field, like I said, it's hard to pin it on everything. You pin it on everything. It's not just Billy Napier. He's a big part of it as the play caller. A majority of it goes to him. But it's not just him. Lagway hasn't progressed. Lagway looks lost. The confidence is not there. I don't know if there's confidence. I put it out on Twitter last week, or the Discord last week on Gators Breakdown Plus. Trust and identity. Trust and identity. I don't think Lagway trusts the offense. I don't think he trusts himself right now. And the identity, there's no identity for this offense. We thought it would be able to run the ball for success. And that's where most of the success came from against Miami, but that's not your identity. You have no identity. You have no identity right now. Jaden Ball, your best player, can only do so much. Jacoby Jackson, good game for him tonight, can only do so much. Okay, that might be your identity, but it's not enough to carry this team. So to me, there's no identity for success. Put it that way. Your identity might be to be a running team, but we didn't see that last week when Lagway stole the ball 50 times. So yeah, okay, we need to see it more this week. Well, no, okay. 52 total plays, 23 passes from Lagway, 29 rushes altogether. But one touchdown against each opponent the last couple of weeks. I mean, when you look at it, you look at the quarterback, and you start there, there's not a lot of help from the play calling. The offensive line's getting destroyed. For Lagway, though, it's pressure in his face. He's not reading the field. He's not throwing accurately when he does have time. He's seeing ghost. I mean, it's just, if it can be bad, it is bad. That's where it is. And this defense, go to the other side of the ball. No Banks, no Burrow, no Gums Jr., none of those guys playing against Miami. But that side, still playing inspired ball. You heard Kirk Herbstreit. I know many of you like him, or you don't like him. But you heard him on the broadcast. Where's the fire for that Gator offense? There's not any. But you do have a defense that's playing inspired ball all night, giving the offense plenty of chances, especially in the second half. Offense finally had one drive that worked. The defense responds. Cormani McClain gets an interception on the very first drive of Miami's ensuing possession. Florida's at midfield, only to later that drive turn the ball over on downs. Defense gave you opportunity after opportunity. Could not take advantage. Could not take advantage. Sad state of affairs. So it's supposed to be an offense that took steps with a second-year quarterback. Billy Napier's supposed to have his guy. And they're much, much worse than we've ever seen it with this staff. Worse than year one under Billy Napier with a new quarterback for him, Anthony Richardson. Much worse. Much worse. There's no progression. And you just can't seem to time it up. Billy Napier gets here. Offense is okay. Defense because, can't get out of their own way. And now we've eventually gotten to the point in year 4 where that it's reversed. It's flipped. Offense can't get out of their own way, and the defense is keeping the Gators in the game. Your side of the ball, the one you are responsible for, since you want to be offensive coordinator, head coach, is the worst it's ever been. There's no defense for that. Not one. Billy Napier says it all the time, and, eventually I don't think he'll be able to say it much more in front of a Florida Gator microphone, but it's all about the results. Well, we're not getting the results. That's 1-3. And I know there might be some people still hanging on by a string, and, hey, this is very similar to last year. And this is not similar at all to last year. The record and losing games might be the way it's happening. No. Nope. Not even close. Not close at all. But this is a reaction episode. There's my initial reaction. Get into some of yours as well. The post game here, as Florida falls to Miami, 26-7, 3 straight losses. I never expected that of it. Didn't expect a loss to USF, of course. Many saw going on the road to LSU and to Miami and coming out of this whole stretch 2-2. But no, you're 1-3. You are 1-3. There's no hope for this team. All right, we'll get into more of it right here. Before we do, it's about that time for me. Gators looking rough again right here. But not much longer. The ceiling in my house, nope, it won't be looking rough. Those outdated popcorn ceilings, they're about to get fixed this week. Partnering with Gator Drywall Duval, transforming Jacksonville home for 25 years. Got them scheduled. They're starting on my ceiling soon. Getting rid of that popcorn ceiling. I like the family atmosphere at Gator Drywall. Brandon leads the charge, his crew. They treat every project like working on their own. True professionals, handling everything from new construction to repairs, drywall installation, finishing, texturing, and yes, that popcorn ceiling removal that I just cannot wait to get done. Gator Drywall of Duval takes care of every detail from start to finish. No headaches, no surprises. Quality craftsmanship that'll make you proud of your home once again. I'll be sharing my journey this week there. So if you got those outdated popcorn ceilings, or if you need any work done, if you're in the Jacksonville area, it's time to call the experts at Gator Drywall of Duval. 904-793-2088. That's 904-793-2088. Or go to GatorDrywallofDuval.com. All right. Let's get to some comments right quick, and then we'll kind of go through a little bit of stats. And at the same time, I'll catch up on some comments. Astro Parrot King says, Billy will coach the rest of the season, and we can all deal with the fact we fired Mullen. Let's all soak it in. Fans should stop buying tickets. Money talks. Well, most of the tickets have already been bought, especially season tickets. They were sold out. Games for like Texas, that's been sold, so for this season, the whole not buying tickets thing really isn't really going to do anything. It's not changing anything. We can all deal with the fact we fired Mullen. Yeah, we could, and we should have. So I don't know why that keeps getting brought up. Just because it's bad now does not mean you don't make that same decision. I'll live by that. Could care less what he's doing at UNLV. Let's see. Coop brings it up. Yep. 32 yards in the first half. We'll go through it. We'll go ahead. We'll look at the stats a little bit. Hope you guys can see that. We have 32 yards in the first half. Not a great look overall for the Gators on offense. 26-7. You guys all watched the game. But let's go through it right quick. Total yards, 344 to 141. 200 more yards there for the Canes. Nothing to write home about for them. Passing yards, 160. 61 for the Gators. 61 passing yards. 100 more yards passing there for Carson Beck. Rushing yards, about 100 more there for Miami as well. There's about your 200-yard difference. About 100 yards more passing, about 100 yards more rushing. 184 on the ground for the Canes, 80 for the Gators. Hey, only 3 penalties. Yay, for 20 yards for the Gators. 6 for 30 for Miami. Yeah, it didn't really matter. 21 first downs for the Canes, only 7 for the Gators. The stat of the game, 0 for 13 for the Gators offense on third down. Hey, 3 of 6 on fourth down. Great. Okay. That didn't really mean anything. 0 for 13 on third down. Miami at 50%, 8 of 16 on third down. Miami runs 76 total plays compared to the Gators, 52. Average yard per play, 4.5 for Miami, 2.7 for the Gators. Average yards per completion, 5.1. 5 yards of completion for DJ Lagway. 9.4 for Carson Beck in Miami. 4 yards of rush for the Canes, 2.8 for the Gators. Time of possession, 36.5 for Miami, 23.5 for the Gators. No turnovers or no fumbles for either team. Carson Beck did throw interceptions. I mentioned earlier to Cormani McLean. Tackles for loss, Miami with 7 tackles for loss and 4 sacks. Gators with 4 tackles for loss and only 1 sack. 1 sack. I mean, that number not doing well for the Gators so far this year. DJ Lagway, 12 of 23, 61 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Completion percentage of 52%. Hey, not 5 interceptions, I guess. I guess that's some progress from last week. Jaden Ball, 12 carries, 46 yards, 1 touchdown. Good, man, what a run by him for that touchdown. Spinning out of the tackle. Mostly, you saw the adjustment there at halftime. Florida starting to incorporate the toss play a little bit more, starting getting on the outside a bit more. Jacoby Jackson had a big run on that 1 touchdown drive as well for the Gators. 12 attempts overall for Ball for 46 yards and 1 touchdown. But him making that touchdown happen. Their offensive line did play better that drive, like I said, with the adjustment of running outside a bit more. Not sustainable for the Gators in the run game. I mean, he was, 13-7 at that point after the touchdown. But the Gators not able to do anything more after that. Jacoby Jackson, 7 attempts for 39 yards. He had 5.6 yards to carry. You could tell they tried to get Trey Wilson involved a bit on some of those reverses in the first half, but it doesn't matter. I mean, anything that looks mildly creative or somewhat of a trick play or anything just kind of off script that we just haven't seen a whole lot of, it never really works. Trey Wilson, those 2 carries, 3 yards, by the way. Didn't really go anywhere. Lagway, because you incorporate sacks here, 8 attempts for -8 yards. Receiving, here we are once again. Jaden Ball leading the way. So, what was it? Last week you had a tight end, Hayden Hansen, I believe, who had the most receptions. This week it's a running back, or maybe it was even Ball last week. But it was one of the two. 3 for 9. Jaden Ball, your leading receiver. Catch-wise, 3 for 9 yards. Vernell Brown III, 2 for 22. Hayden Hansen, 2 for 4. Livingston, 1 for 8. Trey Wilson, 1 for 7. And drop it, late in the game. J. Michael Sturvant with an important catch, but ends up that was his only catch of the game. Out after that, 1 catch for 5 yards. Jacoby Jackson 1 for 4. TJ Abrams 1 for 2. That falls short of a 4th down conversion. 8 receivers, 12 catches for 61 yards. A long of 12. The longest reception of the game, 12 yards. It's not at all what we were seeing last year from DJ Lagway. At all. And he's just a mess right now. Michael Martin says, we're finishing 1-11 with or without Napier. And Matt Green asks, when do you think Napier will be fired? Soon? I'll still go the bye week before Georgia. If it's tomorrow, okay. I wouldn't predict it. I wouldn't be going to Vegas with it right now. Could it happen? Sure. But I do think it'll be discussed. I ultimately don't think there will be a quick trigger. And look, to me, it's not quick. You're 1-3 right now. It would not be a quick trigger from the admin, but I think that's how they would view it. Oh, let's just wait to the second bye week. It's only been 4 games. I think we'll get serious about the next hire. I don't know. I do not think we'll get too serious about moving fast with the firing of Billy Napier. Jameson Lee says, welcome to 2-10. I don't feel confident in the second win of the season. Mississippi State, Kentucky, those are the ones you'll circle. Yeah, Florida probably beats one of those. Maybe, Texas doesn't look all that great either right now. So, yeah, Florida likely gets a second win. But I'm not going to circle who it is. Cannot tell you who it is or who it would be. But I gotta imagine. Yeah, it'll probably happen. All right, let's go to, I won't spend too much on this, but I do want to, let's just go and look at the third downs. Over 13 for the Gators, as we mentioned. Florida had 7.2 yards to go on third down, so averaging 3rd and 7. Averaging 3rd and 7. Third down passing was 3 of 17 for 17 yards. Just gets worse when you look at it. Sacked twice on third down. Average yards per rush on third down, 1.3. Miami averaged 4 yards on third down rushing. Miami averaged 6.6 yards to go on third down. Remember, there was even a third down early in the game. If you're watching the YouTube version and see the highlights, Florida had a 3rd and short, but a false start on Jake Slaughter. Like I said, not many penalties overall in this game. But Jake Slaughter getting one. That made it a 3rd and 7, I believe, instead of a 3rd and 2. Oh, yeah, it's right there. Went from 3rd and 2 to 3rd and 7. That next play went a 2-yard completion to Jaden Ball. Another one, Bryce Lovett, a false start. So, yeah, you didn't have the number of penalties, but 2 of your 3 penalties on third down. One going from 3rd and 2 to 3rd and 7, and one going from 3rd and 6 to, 3rd and 11. I mean, this team's not doing anything, especially offense, to help themselves whatsoever. Big plays, non-existent. Never in my imagination did I think we're looking at explosive plays, and there is not one passing play over 15 yards. And only 2 rushes that went over 10 yards. 27-yarder by Jacoby Jackson, and then 11-yard by Jaden Ball. Both of those in the third quarter. 2 explosive plays all game long. Lagway's longest streak of the night was 4 straight completions. 5 yards, 12 yards, 2 yards, 2 yards. But let's explain where he's at right now. 8-yard completion, 2-yard completion, 4, 7, 4, 3, 10, 5, 12, 2, 2, 2. I mean, what are we doing here? He was 12 of 23. So he was 1 of 2 screen left, 5 of 6 screen right, 3 of 3 short left, 2 of 3 short right, 1 of 2 over the middle. So almost everything is at the line of scrimmage or within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. Let's see, that's 5, 7, 13, 16. 16 of his 23 were within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, just nowhere near where I thought he could be at this point. There's just nothing downfield for this offense. Look, and I hate glossing over what this defense did. Jordan Castell, a player I was kind of worried about in this game, may have one of his best games. He was up near the line of scrimmage at times. He was 10 total tackles, 5 of them being solo. Especially in the first half, up near the line of scrimmage. And I was afraid maybe that the Miami passing game could be able to take advantage of him down the seam, down the middle of the field. No, Jordan Castell, I thought, played pretty well. Miles Graham continues his great play, 7 total tackles. Devin Moore with 6. Kofi is sorry. I like what I saw from him. He was doing a good job chasing down plays. Dreef Denson playing close to the line of scrimmage, making his presence felt as well. I mean, this defense, once again, the game starts and Miami kind of marches down the field and, okay, well, the best offense this defense had played. Maybe it was just going to go sour. No, they stepped up after a pretty bad start. First time in 11 games, I believe, that the opponent scored in their first drive. Okay, you thought at that time, okay, well, this is going to be a really bad start. The offense wasn't doing anything. 3 and out after 3 and out after 3 and out. It was a negative 5 yards on the first drive. Then Miami goes down and scores. Not looking good. They didn't let it affect them. They went back there and played their tails off. Jaden Woods got there for a sack. Probably maybe should have had another one early in the game. Miami had an early 3rd down conversion that was clearly holding on Jaden Woods. Or Miami offensive lineman holding him. That wasn't called. That was kind of happening all night. And it's not really going to make a difference in the game, I don't think. But it wasn't being called, and it happened a lot. But that's not, when you're sitting at 1 and 3, it's kind of hard to talk about what are some of the positives. It's the defensive side of the ball. It's keeping Florida in it. Last week versus LSU, first loss versus USF, last week versus LSU, this week versus Miami. Giving the offense chances that they just can never capitalize on. Okay, let's see. All right, let's see. Let's get to some more comments here. Gator Boy 704. I don't think we'll win another game, seriously. If you think that way, I do not blame you one bit. Like I said, to me, it's hard to pick. Yeah, likely Kentucky or Mississippi State. Man, the nose is itching tonight. But yeah, I mean, I don't feel confident picking one. Yeah, you've played tough. You played a good LSU team tough. You played a good Miami team tough. Now you got a bye week. Where's the? I just don't know what's the mental side of all this for the team right now. You got a bye week. Maybe something happening to rally the guys. The defense, they can continue to play like they are. Injuries are mounting up. Brendan Bett's injury late in the game doesn't seem too great at an already pretty depth deficient defensive line. Chris Collier, this offensive line is horrible. Probably the most, no, likely still the most surprising, but I'm as equally disappointed in their performance. Something I just thought you'd be able to rely on, lean in, but you can't. It's just not there. Zaire TV brings up a really good question. Are we the only team in the SEC that didn't get better? I probably got to see more of Kentucky to ultimately say that. But they could have, here's the thing, they could be just as bad as they were last year. But your question was that didn't get better. Kentucky, I got to see more before I could say they got better. But that's the only one. And I know Arkansas just lost to Memphis today. I still think Arkansas is better than they were last year. Gave Ole Miss all they could handle last week. Ole Miss just went on to destroy Tulane today. I don't know if Ole Miss is better. I can't say that. Let's see. Bama, jury's still out if they've gotten better. But they're in that upper tier still. I mean, I kind of go to your point here. Georgia, maybe. Texas got worse. So, no, I think you throw Texas in there. Texas got worse. Tennessee, yeah, they are probably better. Crazy. I mean, they reached the playoff. That's crazy. Tennessee's a weird case here when you think about that. They look better so far. Does that mean they make the? It's weird. Like if they don't make the playoff, you would say, "Oh, well, they're worse," but they still could be a better team. And just depending on how it shakes out, missed the playoff, but you could still say they were a better team. Mississippi State better, Vandy better, Auburn better, Oklahoma better. Yeah, Florida's definitely one of them. I mean, power rankings come out, and we've seen it. Florida 15 or 16, depending on who it is. If you want to put Florida dead last in a power ranking of the SEC, they deserve it. You can't really argue against it. You might want to. You can make a case. Florida or Kentucky. But Florida's certainly in the conversation. I'm not debating you if you put them there. Okay, they deserve it. Robert M., the wheels have definitely come off. I think so too. I'd be completely shocked if somehow this turns around. And I think that's probably some of the admin's angle here. Giving Billy Napier a chance to turn it around by not firing him this bye week. I think that next bye week will be circled for an ultimate decision date. But Florida could very well beat Texas in a couple of weeks. And then some people will start jumping from joy for that. Somehow forget what just happened these last 3 games. Then you got Mississippi State. Like I said, that's a winnable game. So, okay, get you back up to 3-3. Well, no, you got Texas A&M, don't you? My bad. Texas A&M. So you got Texas A&M, which, Florida's not going on the road to College Station and beating Texas A&M. I've well chronicled How Billy Napier is yet to beat a good team on the road, a team that finishes the season with a winning record. Well, that also continued tonight against Miami. They're going to finish the season with a winning record, so that it hasn't changed. That's not going to change against Texas A&M in a couple of weeks. So it's that next bye week. But yeah, I do agree. I think the wheels have come off. 352 Trading says this team is soft. I will say the offense is soft. I think the defense eventually got worn out. Kept giving Miami chances, or the offense chances, not really doing much. Like I said, lots of 3-and-outs for the Gator offense tonight. Defense was eventually going to break. My worry about that side of the ball is, the care or the confidence that they're getting help on the other side. I hope it doesn't eat into them, and I hope they keep playing as hard as they can on that side of the ball. I like seeing those guys play well. And it sucks because we have to overlook it in some ways because of the status of the team right now. But for them, I hope it continues. I mean, a lot of this too, you don't want to see players give up. There's still film being put out there. And for some of these guys, a Tyreek Sapp, NFL's looking at you. You got to continue to go out there and play hard. Devin Moore, Castell. I mean, these guys, there's still some good tape to be put out there. Steve Whittle says bye week is a time to say bye, right? It would be for me. Sean Abel, this is year 4, and almost every player was recruited/transferred in by Napier. He has a staff of hundreds and a state-of-the-art facility, and the team is worse than it was when he replaced Mullen. That's a unique angle for me, Sean, to look at that is I think the team is actually better. They're not being coached well. And I was kind of the hang-up I was overlooking coming into the season. I thought the talent would just be able to overcome some things. Now, maybe they're not that special of talent. That does take special talent to overcome the coaching that we are seeing. The clock management, the timeout management, once again. I don't know what happened at the end of the game this time, but, player gets hurt using the timeout late. It ultimately didn't really matter. Now, that's why I'm not really hung up on it too much, because it didn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but it's just continuing it. I think the team is better. The coaching staff is not allowing it to be shown. Now, the worrisome part of it is you thought quarterback would be better, but right now it's not. And I can hold the team aspect back. Low Life says, call Dabo. He needs a fresh start. I do not want Dabo Swinney. And I know that sounds blasphemous to some, but the new look college football is not. Look, Dabo Swinney is in some way, he's a better coach than Billy Napier. I'm not putting him in that category, but the lack of use of transfer portal, your way is better, the stubbornness of it all, that's Dabo Swinney as well. He would not be high on my list. We'll be getting to that soon. 352 Trading. This team is LOL. Frank says, just remember Scott Strickland is the problem. He needs to go first so we don't hire terrible coaches. I think another angle to that is maybe he's not so involved in hiring the next football coach. But he's not going anywhere, I don't think. Not with this recent extension. The right people get mad. I wouldn't toss it off the table, but I don't think he'd be going anywhere. So Brandon of Gator Drywall of Duval sent me a text. Says, quote, I'm not going to charge extra for fist holes in the walls. Oh man, I won't ever get there. I won't get there, but that's good. But that is good. Oh man, and that's the crazy thing. In some ways, I don't know the best word to describe. It's not apathy. I still absolutely care, but maybe just used to it. You know, just the like I said, it's Groundhog Day. It's just things that we see now. Certainly still care, but when you see it over and over, you just kind of get immune to it. Apathy is definitely not the right word. It's like it's maybe somewhere in between. I don't know how to describe. Certainly, I care about it. Enjoy talking to you guys about it. I mean, I wish the topics were better, but oh, some words. Another text just sent my way from somebody that was down there. No energy with the team, even come out of the tunnel at halftime. I won't put this person's name out there, but somebody we all know, not a player, not a staff member, was trying to hot the team up, but nobody seemed excited to be there. Tough night. So, there we go. Craig Kurtzman, DJ is overrated. I cannot argue. I will not argue. Robert M., there are no excuses for this level of play. Absolutely. And that's why we're so disappointed. That's why we're so disappointed. It's a level of play from a team that most of us just expected so much from. And maybe that's our fault for the expectations. But we weren't the only ones. M. Wheezy said, I lost hope in 2022. That was Napier's first year. So, hey, you're out in front of it. I'm a little more conservative on that. I will certainly give almost every coach out there, no matter what happens year one, a pass. Whether signs in, sure, but it's so hard to know. And look, here's the thing, guys. Most coaches don't work out. So when there's a proclamation out there when a coach is hired, you know what? If you say it's not going to work out, most of the time you're going to be right. You're going to be right. So a lot of people will say, oh, well, I called it. Well, you can sit there and say that for almost every coach that is hired, and you're likely to be right. You're going to be right a lot more than you're wrong by saying, now I don't know what the expectation is. I don't know what you're saying. Oh, it's just not going to work out. Well, if you say it's not going to work out, guess what? It doesn't work out for most coaches out there. But losing hope in 2022, Napier's first year, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Like I said, I was certainly brought back in last year, but the first time I think hope there with Billy Napier like really took a hit was the Arkansas game in 23. And I brought that game back up after the USF loss this year because that was that's kind of how I felt again. Being in the swamp. Now, don't get me wrong, Arkansas is an SEC team, and those are a little bit more acceptable. I hate we're talking about quote unquote acceptable losses here, but when they pile up, that's kind of what you have to do, I guess. But in ways it wasn't because that Arkansas team terrible. Just fired their OC that week. Beat Florida and then kind of just fall back down to earth after that. That's where it fell apart for me a little bit. Now, came back. You know, that Arkansas game, you had a terrible November in 2023. Coulda, shoulda, woulda against Missouri. Coulda, shoulda, woulda against Florida State. Didn't pull those games out. Start the year, in 2024 by losing to Miami for the first time, losing to Texas A&M. There was no hope. And I guess kind of how we feel now. And then it was brought back. I just don't see the path back this time. Just don't see it. South Florida Don says he has to be hurt. I'm assuming that's about Lagway. And look, I know this comment was at 11:37, so I'm way behind on comments. I know, but we'll see. Fire Lazy Billy Napier says, "Hey Dave, hope you're doing well. I got word Billy Napier will be fired tomorrow on Monday morning. We will see. I think it's possible. I think it's on the board." I wouldn't go to Vegas with it if you were telling me to bet on it, though. Craig Kurtzman, I did see it. I can read it. Let me see if I can find it. I'll see if I can pull it up. I did see this as well. So it did say Rito Anthony called out Lagway after the game. Yep, here it is. Let me see. I'll make it larger for you guys. But I just don't want to be misquoted or anything here. Or I don't want to misquote him. So let me pull it up. So if you didn't see it, here it is. Gator great receiver Rito Anthony. Lagway looked like he was never into this game. Effort's still not there, and he's supposed to be our leader at the end of the day. Effort is free. Powerful words there. A lot of former players coming out the last couple of weeks, talking about where they think this team is. Some good, some bad. But definitely speaking up. Nothing he said that was wrong. All right, guys, going through some more comments here. Low Life says Treon Harris wasn't this bad. He was not. You're right about that. Interesting angle here. The Swamp 11. It's a disservice to the team tonight. Fire him. Just like it's a disservice to not make a quarterback change. 84 other players on that roster. I brought that angle up last week. When do you make the move for that angle of it? Man, my nose is itching tonight. I don't know what in the world. But yeah, I mean, there's a part of this where you do have to start thinking about everybody else. Now I know that the story came out on game day, and hey, there's 40 players that took Lagway out to dinner, put their phones away, and trying to rally around him. And I mean, look here, guys. Here we are. You had a players only meeting already the week before heading into LSU. Stories of trying. I mean, okay, great. I guess you're trying something. But like I said, here we are early in the season and trying to have to find these things. I mean, it's just the team not ready to go once again. The third season in a row. I mean, don't get me wrong. Fourth season in a row in some ways. Yeah, you got the big win over Utah, only to fall flat on your face the week after. But like I said, that's year one. Okay, I'll overlook that. But year two, year three, year four, here we are, picking up the pieces, trying to rally once again to get somewhere. Why is the team not ready? Why are we in year four, knowing what was in front of us, but having your most experienced team? And a lot of the issues are you cannot get out of your own way. You are not prepared. You don't look prepared at all. And I brought up the question, what are you doing in practice? What are you doing in fall camp? Certainly doesn't look like you're getting the team ready. me get this another. Raiv, new member. Well, thank you so much. Chris Sale Season says, a wise man once said, it's time to go. Keith said 0 for 12 on third down. Keith, I believe it was 0 for 13. 0 for 13, Keith. Let me go down to the bottom and get some more recent comments. Kind of going here. Chicken Tendies AMC says, Dave, you play like you practice. That does come back around to, that's a pretty used statement by Billy Napier a good bit, and coaches in general. But yeah, you play like you practice. Well, I think we're seeing what practice is like. Uncle Slap Happy, this is it to me. This one it's hard to gauge, but I certainly think there's probably something to it. Billy has no dog in him. The offense is a reflection of that. I mean, many people were bringing up energy and like the headspace of the team. Maybe it just is the demeanor of the head coach bleeding on over into the players. Michael Stewart says, tonight felt like a Will Muschamp coach team. This one was a little bit worse in some ways. Because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, but going to your point, there was a stat at halftime. 32 total yards in the first half of Florida. And that was the least since 2012. Hey, 2012, that team, only one regular season loss to Georgia before losing to Louisville in the Sugar Bowl. But I guess, you have a point there. You have a point there. Dulon says, yeah, as we go back to the game a little bit, the game was winnable with a touchdown on that turnover. Certainly had all the momentum out there. Had all the momentum after that Cormine and McLean interception. TTV Hash Brown, I can't buy this. And as a big of a Dallas Wilson fan that I am, Dallas coming back changed the whole offense. Not when your quarterback's playing like this. Not when the quarterback's playing like this. Primera RSTKD. This is the worst start to a season that I can remember ever. As I said, if you missed the beginning of it, 1986, the last time the Gators started 1-3. So it is the worst for many of us out there. I was born in 83, but of course I was only 3 years old at the time, so I don't remember that. Let's see. Some more here. Just trying to get to some reaction from you guys too. You guys are just in this as much as I am. I hope this isn't a defense of Billy Napier, but maybe it is. In all seriousness, this is his first year with all of his own players. So I don't know if that's a defense or if that's the reasoning for what we're seeing. Derek Knowles, 5 yards in the first quarter is just ridiculous. What else does Scott Strickland need to see? The poor defense was tired. They can only do so much. That goes to a point I made earlier today on, I think it was on X. And I didn't put this in the previews. Kind of wish I did when talking about this game, but I needed somewhat of a fast start on offense because they would have gave Nagway some confidence, the offense some confidence, but also would have given the defense some confidence that they have some help for the night. Now, the defense still did their part anyway, but I think you'd have kind of would have got that back and forth a little bit. This game would have been, I think, hard to win without it. I think we saw that. I mean, I can't disagree here. I'll put it up there. Miami owns UF. It's that simple. Well, certainly looks that way, right? And that's part of the problem. That's part of the problem. Okay. Well, guys, thanks for hopping in again. These are tough. And some of you like listening to it. Misery loves company. Group therapy sessions. Is this kind of what they are? Stinks we have to talk about that. Dulone. Miami could have been up 30 plus. Florida had a real shot. Yeah, Miami had chances, to, of course, after they got up early in the game. But Florida's defense kept them in check. Nancy Hodges, most teams improved by year 4. That is true. Uncle Slap happy one more time. Play calling is so vanilla and predictable. Billy in over his head. Sunbelt ain't the SEC. Isaac Earl, I can't put this just on Florida because it's happening everywhere. Isaac Earl says, I think Nick Saban warned us about this pay-to-play mess. Okay, but every other school's dealing with it too. It's not just a Florida thing. It's, it's happening everywhere. Junior, I mean, I know this comes up a lot of why do you make or not make the move now? Are they worried about talent retention with a firing before game 5? That could be part of it. At this point, I don't really care. But that could be it. I mean, Virginia Tech didn't care. UCLA didn't care. Do we really care? Why should we care? Don't want to be here? You don't want to be here. Nancy Hodges, great point. One good offensive drive is no moral victory. I completely agree. I mean, if Florida gets shuts out or has to set up for a field goal somewhere, I mean, my thing is, if the administration is going to make some kind of decision just based on that, I'm not saying they are, but if that comes up and if that's what maybe this is in relation to, I don't know. That's what the first thing that popped in my mind when you brought that up. Yeah, that one drive in the second half better not be. Oh well, okay, we're not going to do it now. We saw something. Nah, that ain't flying with me. Tanner Rowan or Rowan? Sorry, I hope I said it right. One of the ways. It is kind of crazy to think that Napier is our 4th coach since Urban. Feels like an eternity since then, and 4 is technically a lot, but not when you think how long it's been since we've been relevant. Tanner, I'm going to bring up a word or a phrase that I like. Some people do, some people don't. It is not it's not a firing problem at Florida. It is a hiring problem at Florida. You cycle through till you get the right one. I hate the whole, well, you need stability for this. No, you do not. Stability for the sake of stability. Stability for the sake of stability just digs the hole even deeper. You want to be fair about it. I think you want to be fair to the time given. Plenty has been given here. But no, I mean, I've had the conversations in the last couple of weeks on X or whatever, and oh yeah, go ahead and get rid of Napier. See what happens then. Okay, I'm fine with that. And same with Mullen too. And people would now throw this in their face. Well, yeah, see what happened. I don't care. It wasn't going to work out with Mullen either. I know that. I was okay. You got to make change to get there eventually. Oh, Kim a Gator, 0 for 3 in the state of Florida this year. Well, USF and Miami got one more in FSU. But yeah, I wouldn't pick it right now either. So all right. Went about the hour I wanted to go. But misery loves company. Group therapy session. We'll have a Gators Breakdown Plus chat on Sunday evening. So if you guys want to take part in that and you're not a member of Gators Breakdown Plus, go to gatorsbreakdownplus.com, sign up. You get access to the Discord. And that's where we have the chats at on Sunday evening. Probably a pretty lively one. Probably a lot of repeat of what's been said the last couple of weeks. But there we go. And then it's a bye week this week. Will Miles will still join me Monday night. I don't think we'll hear from Billy Napier on Monday because they don't usually have a press conference on the bye week on Monday. He will speak on the SEC teleconference on Wednesday if he's still head coach. And let's see. And then Tuesday evening, we get the announcements for Florida's 3 permanent opponents for the upcoming 9-game SEC slate in the coming seasons. So we'll do something Tuesday night on Gators Breakdown. We'll look over that. I think we get who Florida plays as well, like the cycle of who you play. You get the 3 permanents, and then we'll get the cycle of who Florida plays year 1, and then who year 2, and then there's a repeat every other year. So that's what's coming up this week on Gators Breakdown. Like I said, I'm also having Gator Drywall Duval. They're coming to redo my ceiling. So don't think there will be a late week episode of Gators Breakdown. There's no opponent to preview. So, and then I was like, Brandon, got to save the podcast room for like Wednesday or Thursday. Because earlier in the week is when I'll be doing the episodes during the bye week. So that's why. I don't know what this room will look like Wednesday and or Thursday. So there we go. That's why. So we'll see what happens. Muddy Waters, I did answer that question earlier. You can certainly say so. I'll couple more thoughts here and then I'm going. Muddy Waters says, Dave, serious question. Is Florida the worst team in the SEC? If you want to put Florida at 16, you can, and I will not argue with you. Will not argue with you. And BM Booth says, hot board talk time yet. My hot board, I won't come. I know people hate this. You know, I won't do a hot board until it's official that he's fired. So that's just how I'm going to approach it. I know people will say it's boring. I know people will say whatever about it. But I won't go there yet. I won't go there yet. That doesn't mean I'm not working on it. I am talking loosely about it on the Discord a little bit. So we'll just leave it at that right now. Got to get rid of some of these stupid comments in here. Nothing with you guys. Not calling. There was too many political posts. And I I don't play that game. So MB coming in from Hurricanes from Miami. Canes fan here. Your boys gave us a scare in the third quarter. Hate the Gators, but that schedule you play is unfair. Yeah. Thanks, MB, for checking in. Good win by you guys. Certainly, in some ways, encouraged by what we saw from Florida, especially the defense. I still think Miami, from at least before this, was looking like the best offense in the country. So, good performance for this defense. Hopefully, that's what we can kind of hang our hat on this year. But yeah, schedule is tough. We knew it. Oh well. Play the hand that's dealt. All right, everybody. I guess I'm for real this time. That'll do it for this episode of Gators Breakdown. I'm your host, David Waters. You can find me on social media at GatorDave_SEC. We'll keep the conversation going on the Discord. We'll keep the conversation going on Twitter. But reach out. We'll keep this thing going, of course. But that'll do it for this episode of Gators Breakdown.